Thank you, Emily. I'm Mark Coca. I'm the Nevada State Vegetation Program Lead for the BLM. I'm going to talk about our Nevada scale land health assessment and or AIM implementation. Originally, this came about as a sage-grouse effort. We needed to determine our sage-grouse habitat conditions because of the petition to the Fish and Wildlife Service on the sage-grouse as far as listing under the Endangered Species Act. Fish and Wildlife Service came up with a warranted but precluded decision. What that means is that it was warranted for listing, but they were going to wait. There were some other priorities that needed to be addressed before it could truly officially be listed. This was in April of 2010. So we in Nevada kind of saw the writing on the wall, crystal ball, and said we better start now figuring out what our sage-grouse habitat conditions are, what we need to do to figure out what those habitat conditions are. And at the same time, we had just started implementing our landscape approach, the BLM's landscape scale approach to doing projects, doing assessments. So this was kind of tied in pretty nicely right at that time. We in Nevada, in southern Nevada, where we don't have sage-grouse habitat, sage-grouse period, we're also looking at doing this project, at the time, this project, to determine some renewable energy mitigation sites. So just to kind of give you a little bit of what I plot this picture in, this was a conifer mastication project done in eastern Nevada. It was completed in 2010. The day after it was completed, the crews came out to go clean up, make sure everything was gone. There were 3 sage-grouse started walking in the project area, 1 male, and there were 2 female, there's another female that was over here. So if you build it, they will come. So the next kick into our approach to getting this project done was we went to the Great Basin Institute to provide our field crews. The Great Basin Institute had a history with working with us in the BLM Nevada with providing these young college-educated workforce, young students that want to do this field type of work. So it fit really well. At the same time, we also had the Secretary of Interior's youth initiative that we were to help hire youth to do natural resource work. And at the same time, this project was to kind of generate a workforce for us as we saw that a lot of the existing BLM employees were coming up to that retirement age. At the same time, also, we have actually an AIM pilot project in the Jackson Mountains herd management area to initially assess the differentiation between horse use and livestock use. And so I'll talk about that a little bit. The picture here is the Esmeralda fire. This burned in 2005. The picture was actually taken in April of 2006. I'll kind of show you why I brought this in. But just notice the formations in the background. So as our project evolved, as we were starting planning to figure out what we're going to do, we were looking at initially doing an assessment, some kind of landscape scale assessment, and initially we chose the interpreting indicators of rangeland health. And as we compared that to the AIM quantitative monitoring strategy, we noticed that that's so similar, where one of them is a qualitative assessment, that's the interpreting indicators of rangeland health, and the AIM was the quantitative monitoring, where we could show that the quantitative monitoring backs up what the qualitative assessment determined showed. So again, just putting these things together was a really good fit. So we expanded what we originally had is that the Jackson Mountains pilot project to the entire state of Nevada using the combination of the interpreting indicators, rangeland health, the 17 indicators, and the AIM quantitative monitoring. So again, the picture, same formations, just a little bit different orientation. This picture was taken in 2009 after some ESMR treatments. Starting to a whole lot of grasses coming in there. Same formations, 2011. Look at the sagebrush we've got coming in. We are creating sage-grouse habitat here. So even in the dry, harsh sites of Nevada, this is in northwest Elko County, we can bring it back after a fire. So it does take some work, and I wish all sites truly look like this after a fire, but yes, we can do some good work out there on the ground, especially to reintroduce sage-grouse habitat back onto the landscape. You may have seen this slide already from Emily. For us in Nevada, this worked perfectly in terms of both the statistically valid and especially the scalable sampling design. So the areas in blue there, that is the Jackson Mountains herd management area, that initial pilot project that we did. We can also start to look at things in the green in the Winnemucca district where the Jackson Mountains project resides, and then also in the perimeter of the state of Nevada, and then also in the central basin and range as an ecoregion. For us to do that scalable analysis was just a really enticing thing of using AIM. So we started the actual data collection in 2011. The Great Basin Institute, and a few of them are here in the room. Thank you. Done some great work out there. For the first few years, we've averaged about 400 plots per year. We're at over 1,440 plots after 4 years, 2011 to 2014. We've got some great data. I'll show you some of the results here in a little bit, and I'll show you where we've completed the state of Nevada and where we still got some holes to fill in. But all in all, this has been a tremendous success. I think, and I'll show you what we're going to do going forward. I keep mentioning that this is a project. Well, initially, yes, it was a project. I think at this point, and as far as the success that we've seen, we're calling it a program now. This is our AIM Landfill Assessment Program. It's no longer just a project. We've seen that we can use this, and we've heard throughout this morning about using the data for multiple uses, and that's, I think, where we're at this point. So initially, it was just that sage grouse habitat assessment, and we can use the data for a lot other uses than that. The way things are going, I'm on about a 7 to 10 year rotation on getting the entire state completed. There's some areas that I think we can get down to a 5 year. If we dedicate more crews to the effort, I think we can get it down to a 5 year basis of starting to look at those sites again and getting a really good analysis on trends. And of course, the costs have been escalating, and that's just reality. It's much funner to drive that nice, fancy, expensive Ferrari than the Pinto. So we've got to find that fine line of where we want to keep our costs. Lee Turner with the Nevada Department of Wildlife has also started implementing a similar data collection method using AIM type methodologies. And also, Lee, for BLM in Nevada, provided our existing data, those 2011 to 2013 data, to what we call the Nevada Sagebrush Ecosystem Council. It was an organization based from state agencies to just work on sagebrush systems. And so we provide our data to them so that they can use that as part in terms of developing the conservation credit system for sagebrush habitat mitigation. So with the consistent sampling design and the data collections, we are able to do a whole lot of data sharing. And I think we'll see, I think that's her talk on just how much data we have out there, and it is fully able to be shared. Gordon mentioned about these landscape scale assessments, and that is for us in BLM Nevada what we're going to start to look for is doing assessments on an ecological boundary rather than solely on an allotment boundary. This is a different concept, and this is just the assessment. A couple questions everybody jumps up, well, I need to, issue a permit on allotment. Well, that's fine. Issue your permit on that allotment basis. But let's do the assessment on that ecological boundary rather than these artificial allotment boundaries. And then Gordon also mentioned about the sage-grouse habitat assessment framework. As we found in 4 years of data collection so far, that the data we've collected, the inputs, we have now a whole lot of inputs to put into that sage-grouse habitat assessment framework. So right now we are so far ahead of the curve because we have such a large data set. We can start to do these sage-grouse habitat assessment framework as soon as that document is released. Certainly there are some other inputs that need to be done as part of that sage-grouse habitat assessment framework, but we have a huge chunk of it already completed. And with the sage-grouse habitat assessment framework, the scalability, what I talked about there with the AIM system, fits in nicely here. So we can do things on the site scale. We can give you inputs such as sagebrush cover, perennial grass cover, perennial forb cover, sagebrush height, and then we can do it using the assessment portion of it and some other portions of that habitat assessment framework. Now here's the maybe controversial, but maybe curious part, is putting this type of data into grazing permit renewals. As part of our sage-grouse land use plan amendments, we're going to be using a lot of objectives-based terms and conditions in our grazing permits. Because of that, the AIM system is going to allow us to answer some of those objectives. This could be numeric-based. One question that was brought up earlier was, well, wait a minute, what about these key areas? We're not using key areas anymore? No. We can still use those key areas to answer the utilization use levels, annual use indicators, where you need those. It's just add to your sample set and collect those annual use indicators as you need those for your grazing permit renewal. You can always just add more sample plot locations, designs. Same thing with these other methodologies. So we have to do frequency. Okay, do frequency. Nobody's stopping you. So that's one of the things that we're really looking at, and that's able, with AIM, we can always add more studies. By all means, just gives you more data, more to work with. So a big question I definitely want to, or a big answer I want to provide here is that AIM does not preclude you from answering or asking those site-specific management questions. By all means. And so as part of the adaptive management, and kind of the whole concept of this symposium is using adaptive management. So what we'd like to do in Nevada is implement this if-then concept. And what that means is, if something happens, then we implement some management action. Now, I've got some potential examples here, just ideas. So don't jump, freak out right just yet. But if we reach a certain within-season annual use threshold, then we implement some management action. Or if we show on the after-season monitoring that some unit is reached, some threshold is reached, then maybe the following year we implement some management action, if then. And it could go the other direction. Let's say, in terms of the third one, if our monitoring shows that our season use was less than 20%, maybe we could increase those AUMs permitted on the next grazing season. But this is part of the adaptive management, and all shown right now so far is some of those annual use indicators. But in the sage-grouse land use plan amendments, there are specific numerical sage-grouse habitat objectives, and so those could be incorporated into our terms and conditions of our grazing permits. So just to show some of the results, this map just shows the plot locations of everything we've done 2011 through 2013. Certainly there's a lot of holes that we haven't filled in yet. I don't have the 2014 data in here. This is sagebrush cover on those plot locations. Don't freak out that there's a whole lot of red. When you have red, just means 0% or nothing. That's Southern Nevada, Mojave. We don't have sagebrush there anyway, so that's fine. This is perennial grass cover on the same sites. And again, just looking at on a landscape scale what results are showing. I'll show you a little bit of how to zero in, drill down a little bit further in just a second. This is perennial forage cover. Now, what I want to stress is that with all of these, we have to compare it to what the ESDs can produce. So just because it says 0 to 10% of perennial forage cover, well, maybe that's all that our ESDs say that we can support. So that may be fine. This is invasive cover. Well, the scale would be just a little bit different, where the 0 or the green would be, or no invasive cover. But yes, certainly there are still places with invasives. As I mentioned, we're using the interpreting indicators of rangeland health in conjunction with the AIM methodology. So this is just showing how that interpreting indicators results show. This is the combination of all the attributes into one slide. Remember, there are 17 of those. And the way we did it is we counted the number of plots where we have at least one attribute at the moderate level or above, moderate to extreme or extreme to total, divided by the number of plots in an allotment to give you a percentage and showing kind of what the overall qualitative assessment may show. This one way of looking at it, we do this on individual attributes and or groups of attributes, whether it's biotic, hydrologic, or soils. And then we've also done things, the analysis on sage grouse, what was originally the preliminary priority habitat, preliminary general habitat, PPH and PGH. So again, we can show just flip to those, that type of system, whether it's PPH or PGH, showing what our sagebrush cover here is, our perennial grass cover, perennial fork cover, and then invasives. And so to kind of narrow down, just to show you what some of the analysis may look like. And this is very, very, very basic, so just get the concepts. But this is the North Fork Sage-Grouse Planning Management Unit, PMU. So I just kind of put this to show, and just, and as you probably can't see that, everybody, but the sagebrush cover ranges in this particular PMU on BLM managed lands from 10 to 30%. The perennial grass cover is, again, about 10 to 30%. The perennial fork cover is about 2.5 to 20%, and the invasives is about 0 to 20. So just, again, on a real basic analysis, kind of looking at this, what our limiting factors are, or likely are, our sagebrush cover is less than 20%. Our invasives could be anywhere from 10 to 20%, a little bit high probably for our ecological site descriptions, and somewhere in that 0 or 2.5 to 20% cover on forests. So this is where we need to kind of go down, figure out where we have those limiting conditions, and just looking at it initially in that central area right there, maybe where we need to focus on restoration efforts. We can do a whole lot more detailed analysis using this, but just initially, that's kind of where we're going with this. So with that, are there any questions? Yes.
Hey, I missed this. Can you tell me how many acres one sample represents?
It kind of depends on how many plots we have in a given ecological site description policy. So we have what's called a representative acres. Maybe I'll stand. Let me rephrase his question. He goes, how many acres can we report based on the number of plots? And it kind of depends on, we did the sample design based on ecological site description polygon and or disturbance response groups, which are groups of ESDs that respond similarly to some kind of disturbance. And so, depending on how many plots in a given ESD, can we say how many acres we've got? So, we've got probably 4 to 6 million acres done, completed, using 4 to 6 million, probably more than that in reality, but I think with really good confidence we can easily call it that.
How many samples?
It's 1,400 points that we accomplished over 4 years. But I think with the AIM methodology, we can, with a pretty good degree of confidence, say that we have sampled those accurately.
And here's an example. Why? If you use, let's say, 1 meter unit to give each a land that you're looking for gullies and a land with mops to be gullies. But use a higher resolution to pick what's up. And I think your sample is the same way. You don't have enough samples, so you're coming up with false negative if you have too low. I think BEAM has that. It's a good tool, but it's the wrong tool for detecting problems. Right? I think it's a wrong tool for safe ground. If you're not sampling,
I think the AIM system can help us, and it kind of depends on that individual level of sample design. just to make a blanket statement that automatically we don't have enough sample points may not be correct. Same thing as saying that we have sampled everything. We freely admit we have not sampled everything. Yes, Sean?
No.
Oh, do I got to cut me off?
Oops, yeah, sorry. This is a really good question.
I'll do that.
Yeah.